Today, we're diving into a place that seems to defy our modern world. We're talking about the Amazon. And we're not looking at it as some territory to be mapped or conquered, but as this vast, living puzzle that honestly resists being completely understood. I mean, you look at it from space, and it seems pretty straightforward, right? Just this solid, unbroken ocean of green. But that's a total illusion. It's hiding a level of complexity so deep that even now, with all our satellites and tech, huge parts of the Amazon are still a total mystery. And that's the big question we're tackling today. So, to even begin to understand why, we have to start with the most basic, most obvious barrier, the one that makes everything else harder. The sheer, almost impossible to imagine scale of the place. We can start with a number. 5.5 million square kilometers. It's the biggest river basin on the entire planet, and it stretches across 9 different countries. But really, a number that big is kind of useless, isn't it? It's just too massive to really wrap your head around. So let's try to put that into perspective. This one single forest is bigger than the entire European Union. Think about that. All those countries, all those borders on a map, they just kind of dissolve into this sea of green. And that incredible size just amplifies every single challenge that comes next. But the scale, that's really just the cover of the book. It's when you go under that green canopy that the world completely changes. The basic things we count on to get around, like solid ground and being able to see where you're going, they just start to fall apart. See, the forest isn't just a jumble of trees. It's more like a multi-story building. You've got these giant emergent trees at the very top, reaching way up for the sun. Then below that, you have the main canopy, which is so thick and tangled together that it blocks out most of the light. And then you have even more layers below that. So little sunlight actually hits the forest floor that it not only hides the ground from satellites, but it also scrambles the GPS signals we depend on. And here's where it gets truly wild. The forest doesn't just sit there and take whatever weather comes its way. It actively makes its own. There's this process called the biotic pump, where billions of trees are constantly breathing out water vapor. They form their own clouds. They create these massive rivers in the sky. The Amazon literally breathes its own weather system into existence. And if all that wasn't enough to deal with, the ground itself isn't even reliable. When the wet season hits, the rivers just swell up and spill over their banks, creating these enormous flooded forests. We're talking about water levels rising over 15 meters. That's like 5 stories high, turning what was solid ground into a watery world for months at a time. Trails disappear, the whole landscape gets redrawn, and suddenly you can't even tell where the land ends and the river begins. So, okay, the physical world is constantly shifting under your feet. But then you have to layer on top of that a density of life that is so immense, it's almost impossible to catalog. The sheer amount of living things here is just staggering. Let's just try to get a handle on the numbers. Over 40,000 different species of plants. You can find more species of trees in a couple of acres of the Amazon than you can in some entire countries. Then there are the birds. Over 1,300 species that we know of, all creating this incredibly complex soundtrack from the forest floor all the way up to the canopy. And then you have the insects. We're talking millions of species. It's so dense that on one single tree, you could find dozens of beetle species that exist nowhere else on Earth. Every time scientists go out there, they find new species. It's not a surprise anymore. It's just expected. Now, here's the crucial thing to remember. All this life isn't just passively sitting there. This place is a living fortress. It actively defends itself. You've got poison dart frogs with toxic skin, bullet ants that deliver one of the most painful stings known to man, and plants that are armed to the teeth with spines and poisons. This isn't just a random collection of life. It's a web of survival strategies that have been perfected over millions of years. For centuries, we had this image of the Amazon as this pristine, untouched wilderness. But it turns out we were wrong. Beneath all those trees, the forest is holding on to the memories of a surprisingly complex human history. So researchers used this incredible technology called LiDAR. It's kind of like a super advanced laser radar that can see through the trees. And when they digitally stripped away the canopy, what they found was just mind-blowing. These faint but unmistakable geometric shapes. Grids, roads, large enclosures. These weren't natural. They were the ghosts of ancient, organized communities that had been hiding in plain sight for centuries. And you have to wonder, how did they support so many people?
Well, part of the answer is that they were incredible engineers. They created something called terra preta, which literally means black earth. They took the naturally poor soil and enriched it with charcoal and waste to create these patches of super fertile ground that are still there today, quietly shaping the forest around them.
This quote right here really nails the Amazon's relationship with its own history. The forest doesn't just erase the past, it absorbs it. Those old earth walls get softer, leaves and soil build up, and tree roots gently push against them until what was once human-made just becomes part of the forest itself. So when you start to add it all up, the shifting ground, the overwhelming amount of life, and a hidden history that's been swallowed by the trees, you really start to understand the true limits of modern exploration.
The roadblocks are just everywhere. On a physical level, the forest grows back so fast that a trail you cut can completely vanish in a few weeks. Technologically, the humidity is just relentless. It rusts your electronics, it grows mold on your camera lenses. Logistically, the rivers, which are your highways, they literally change course, so yesterday's map might be useless today. And then you have the human layers, trying to navigate the laws of 9 different countries and, most importantly, the profound ethical duty to respect and protect the uncontacted peoples who call the Amazon home.
And all this kind of leads to a bigger idea. Maybe the greatest barrier isn't physical or technological at all. Maybe it's us. Maybe it's our perspective. For so long, we've treated the Amazon like a blank spot on the map that we just need to fill in. But what if that's completely the wrong way to look at it? Because this system that we struggle so much to understand is absolutely critical for the entire planet. It's one of the Earth's biggest carbon sinks, it helps keep our global climate stable, but that crucial role is now under threat. Climate change is causing longer droughts, and deforestation is weakening the forest's ability to do its job, which adds this whole new layer of uncertainty to an already complex system. So, we're left with this final thought. The Amazon actively resists being fully mapped and known, not because it's hostile, but just because it's a living, breathing, self-healing system that works on a scale that is just beyond our control. So maybe the goal isn't mastery. Maybe it's humility. Maybe it's time to shift from trying to conquer it to just listening. What do you think we might hear?